Support for this podcast comes from St. Alphonsus Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinics, with physicians, physical therapists, and trainers who treat sports and performance-related injuries, with locations across the valley. More information on services and locations at stalphonsus.org/stayactive.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's Daily News. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Today we have an update on the story that we broke yesterday, a story about Idaho lawmakers currently in Jerusalem as guests of the Israeli government. We'll tell you how thousands of abandoned mines here in Idaho pose pollution threats because of the possibility of flooding. And we'll also tell you about some groups here in Idaho. They are in favor of public schools, and they're suing to block one of Idaho's laws that would use taxpayer money to subsidize private school tuition. It is Thursday, the 18th of September, and here we go. Yesterday, we were first to report that a group of Idaho lawmakers were part of a delegation visiting Jerusalem this week as guests of the Israeli government. Idaho House Republican Representatives Barbara Ehart, John Schertz, Bruce Skog, and Josh Tanner, along with Democratic House Representative Alana Rebel, are all part of the Israeli-sponsored trip, but a trip that had not been publicized ahead of time. In fact, it was only after we were able to identify the Idaho legislators through pictures posted on social media and the Times of Israel that we were able to verify the story. That's when we also learned the trip was organized by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, all of this is in the shadow of Israeli ground troops invading Gaza City with intention of occupation. It was after our report had aired that Representative Rebel confirmed the lawmakers' presence in Israel. She wrote, quoting here, "We were assured that our attendance is not an endorsement of the current government, but rather an opportunity to learn and ask questions." She added, again quoting here, "No Idaho taxpayer funds were used for the trip." Groups in favor of public schools are banding together to try to block one of Idaho's newest laws that would use taxpayer money to subsidize private school tuition. James Dawson reports.
The lawsuit filed directly to the Idaho Supreme Court Wednesday says the subsidies violate the state constitution. Article 9, Section 1 mandates the legislature, quote, establish and maintain a general, uniform, and thorough system of public free common schools. Daniel Mooney is president of the Committee to Protect and Preserve the Idaho Constitution, one of the groups behind the lawsuit.
Imposing no meaningful requirements for academic quality or accountability is not thorough, nor can it be even described as a system at all.
Private schools are not required to share student test scores or curriculum to receive the money. Republican Representative Wendy Horman, who sponsored the bill, said she believes the law fully complies with the state and federal constitutions and welcomes the opportunity to prove that. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
A new report shows thousands of abandoned mines across our region are posing pollution threats because of the possibility of flooding. Caleb Radel reports.
Nonprofit research group Headwaters Economics found that Colorado, Utah, and Idaho each have thousands of abandoned mines in flood-prone areas. When heavy rains hit, those sites can leach toxic metals like arsenic and lead into rivers and groundwater. It's unclear how big the threat is. Mine inventories are scattered and incomplete, making it difficult to know which sites pose the greatest danger. Headwaters researcher Bridget Mitchell says that's why more urgency is needed.
We need to make it a bigger priority so that we can better protect our people, our waters, and our local economies when the next flood happens.
The report urges Western states to build better mine databases, secure steady cleanup funding, and fold these hazards into local flood plans, steps that could help communities avoid costly disasters. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Radel.
Nearly a year to the day since Idaho District Judge Amanda Brailsford dismissed a lawsuit challenging Idaho's new voter ID law, attorneys from March for Our Lives and the Idaho Attorney General's Office argued the case again before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Opponents of the law say it unfairly disenfranchises student voters by eliminating student identification from the list of accepted IDs to register or cast a vote. Yesterday, Idaho's Deputy Solicitor General Michael Zarian argued that removing student IDs was a way to strengthen election security while keeping a level playing field.
Any student who would have used a student ID before is now simply in line with the rest of the electorate, who has always had to go to the DMV and obtain a compliant identification.
But Senior Circuit Judge William Fletcher, one of three on the panel hearing the appeal, pushed back.
Yeah, that's a nice argument, except that when you treat everybody the same, but the people start out in different situations, treating them the same is not necessarily equal treatment. And students are in a different situation from other people.
The Ninth Circuit has no timetable to issue a ruling in the appeal. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. What do you say? We're back here on Friday. You can stay in touch by, checking out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or the Boise State Public Radio app. And please tell your friends, family, neighbors about The Connector. They can access it wherever they find their favorite podcasts. For now, I'm George Prentice. Thanks for listening.
It's rare to find a podcast that can actually change your life. But when the show's called Life Kit, that's kind of the whole point. I'm Marielle Segarra. 3 times a week on the Life Kit podcast, we guide you through a topic we could all use help with, from personal development to healthy living to managing your dinero, with takeaways so you can start living what you learn right away. Escucha el Life Kit podcast from NPR.